what's up guys? This is Jonathan and we're back with Beards and Boost. In today's episode, we're going to be upgrading the rear motor mount on my 2018 Focus ST. Just a backstory, I've already got a Mountune rear motor mount. And the reason why I went with Mountune, one, they make quality parts. And two, I was told that it's one of the least NVH motor mount out there. And the backstory for me is on a previous car, I put some solid mounts in and it was terrible. I swore I'd never do it again. So I was actually fine with the e-Focus mount that came with the car. But as I've built up the power and things like that, I have decided, this is something that's necessary. So I've been running the Mountune for, I don't know, a year now, and I love it. So this is another one of those situations where, am I stupid for changing it out? I don't know. I don't know what's good until I try it. But this is one of those things that, I've got the Mountune. If I decide that I need to go back to it, well, I'll just throw it back in. This is a pretty simple mod as far as installing. So what I'm going with is a CPE Stage 2 rear motor mount. So why am I going with CPE rear motor mount? Well, for one, I have CPE parts and everything they make is top notch. So I have no doubts that this is not an amazing product. Prior to buying the Mountune motor mount, I was told to go ahead and get the Stage 2 CPE. It's the best on the market. That's just the one that you need to go for. But still, like I said, in the back of my mind, I was thinking, I don't want the vibrations. I don't really care how good it is if it vibrates. But after I'd already bought the Mountune, I ended up driving a Focus RS that has all CPE mounts in there. So I figured it was going to be just sheer chaos inside the car. And it turns out it was actually pretty comfortable. It was way less vibrations than I was expecting. So this is one of those situations where I came across a sale on this. I can't remember. I think I bought it in March or April. They had a sale going on. So this is one of those things that I caught a deal on it. So I said, let me try it. If I don't like it, I'm just going to sell it and put the Mountune back on. But here we go. We're going to install it. So wish me luck. All right, guys, so this is going to be just a seat of the pants test. I don't really know any way of telling this other than just sitting in the car and letting you know. So I'm just going to crank the car. I have the Mountune rear motor mount in right now. Just kind of let you know my thoughts on it. So just going to crank the car, and I'll turn the AC on, kind of let you know what I feel. All right, so I have a lot of experience with the Mountune. Like I said, I've had it in for probably a year. When you're at idle with no air conditioning on, I mean, it's just like stock. So if you're concerned about noise and vibration and all that stuff, I can highly recommend the Mountune. It's great. Now let me go ahead and turn. I mean, there's nothing. I don't know that you can see anything, but you see the keys are not rattling or, nothing crazy going on. Let me turn the air conditioning on. Now, you do feel a little bit of vibrations. The best I remember, I don't know, it's been so long since I ran the air conditioning. But okay, well, not sure if you can hear that, but you do feel a little bit of vibrations just sitting here at idle. It's not bad. I mean, this isn't a race car or anything like that. One thing I do want to point out while I got you right here is a lot of people say that the Mountune, you don't want to go with it because maybe, I don't know if it's because it's softer or whatever. They say you can still get that firewall slap whenever you shift to second gear or whatever. I hadn't had that problem. So I do want to point that out because that's the first thing everybody I've ever talked to that I said, hey, I'm going with a Mountune. They were like, well, good luck. You're going to still slap the firewall. No problems with that. But air conditioning on, you can look at the keys. I mean, it's not shaking. I would think that if it was shaking real bad, it would be shaking like a Polaroid picture. But nah, I mean, so far I love this. So that's the part that I am scared to death of changing this. But I have driven that RS that had the stage 2 mount and the driver and passenger side mounts, and it did well. So I do understand though, for this test right here, this is a well broken in motor mount, and they say for the CPE, I think you got to put 1,000 miles on it or something before it really breaks in. So isn't really a fair test, but I'm just gonna show you what I got right now. All right.
I'm done cleaning up your mess. Found myself in my regrets. I've become a little stronger now. A little stronger now.
All right, y'all, I just finished install. Pretty straightforward. I mean, this is not the first time I've done it, but still, this is one of those things that whenever I read before putting on the Mountune one, you know, a lot of people said it was kind of tough to do, but I mean, just follow directions. There's plenty of resources you can look at. The CPE comes with pretty clear details, but you can also look at some things like CPE or CJ Pawnee Parts for some of their installs. I do want to make note of one thing. I thought it was a little weird on the instructions. It tells you to torque the bolt that attaches to the, I guess, the frame or whatever. Bolt that to 80 foot-pounds. That's what the instructions say. I went back and I looked at CJ Pawnee Parts. They say 80 foot-pounds, and I thought it was weird because I was like, where have I seen 85 foot-pounds at? So I went back to where I took a picture of the part, and it's clearly etched on there. It says torque everything to 85 foot-pounds. Thought that was a little weird, but I knew I'd seen 85, so that way I already had everything already up, so I just went back and torqued that bolt to 85. But we're getting ready to do the first start and see what happens. All right, back in the car, CPE stage 2 rear motor mount. Again, this is not a scientific test. This is just seat of the pants, what I'm going to experience. And I do want to point out, like I said earlier, this isn't a fair advantage because this is a brand new motor mount. And even the Mountune, I mean, it vibrated pretty good for like 300, 400 miles or whatever. And like I said before, I'm told to give this a chance for 1,000 miles. You know, a lot of people first install it and they say that, you know, it feels like their car's about to fall apart. So, you know, this is not the end all be all, but this is just what I'm experiencing. This is the very first start right here. Well, I mean, let's wait for the revs to come down, but it literally feels no different to me right now. I do want to point out too that I believe the factory RPM for idle is 750, and if you have a base tune car or whatever, it's my understanding you will get significantly more vibrations, but mine's already tuned to bump up that idle to 950 RPMs, and that's just what a lot of people say, hey, that's what you want to go to. It'll take out a lot of vibes. But I'll cut back in just a second. I just cranked the car. Let me let it warm up and bring down the temperature, and then we'll bring it back. All right, it's at 950 RPMs idle. I do feel a little more than the Mountune, but I mean, this isn't crazy. Like, you know, it's not straight race car rattle trap or whatever. I mean, I don't know if you can see this, but here's my keys for comparison. Maybe you can see my gear knob. It's not bouncing and going nuts. So that's that. So let me turn on the air conditioner now and just see what's up. Well, we got some vibes. Let's see. but it's not rattle trap vibes. I mean, you feel it. I mean, you feel it. It is. I mean, it is significantly more than the Mountune, but it's not bad. So I hate to even say that. And I don't know if from my experience, having like a solid bushing or whatever, let's say that's a 10 for rattle trap, and that being rattle so hard your dash is about to just come undone. I'd say the Mountune might be if the factory is a 1 and a 10 is like solid motor mounts, I'd say the Mountune probably is like a 4 or so, because I mean it is significantly more noticeable than factory, especially when you have the air conditioning on. I'd say right now, and this is first impressions, I hadn't driven it, hadn't done anything, just cranked it up right here, but first impressions, I'm going to say, I mean, this is probably like a 6 or 7. I mean, it's significantly more than the Mountune, but it's not crazy. Like, this is pretty good right now, and considering that a lot of people say it breaks in after about 1,000 miles, I mean, this is looking pretty good. So stick tight, I'll take it around for a ride, and then we'll get a little bit more review from there. All right, guys, I just had the first test drive in, and I gotta say, you know, so far I am impressed. You know, coming into it, I've already mentioned multiple times that, you know, I was scared to death of adding vibrations. I mean, this is a daily driver. This isn't a race car. You know, I've got a child seat in the back. I don't need a rattle trap in here. But so far, so good. I mean, you know, you read on forums and things like that, people were saying, you know, hey, I've put this motor mount on, and you know, people were like, you know, instant regret or whatever, you know, because it's shaking so bad. Maybe they were thinking that maybe I installed it wrong or whatever, and I mean that could be the case for the first, you know, several hundred or 1,000 miles. And I think the biggest key for my car is my idle has been raised to 950 RPM as opposed to that 750 for just a stock tune or whatever. But so far, just driving it, I mean, this is just my initial impression, but I don't notice a whole lot different as far as vibration at idle. I'm in the car right now, it's at idle, no air conditioning on. It's just a hair more than the Mountune. As far as driving, you can tell a difference. I mean, it's just to simply put, I mean, it does feel like you're putting more power down. And this is normal driving, like not going out there kicking it or anything like that. You know, just driving, it feels like it's more direct. And, you know, you can go to CPE's YouTube channel. They show you how much flex the engine can torque, you know, whenever you give it some throttle. Which, like I said, I mean, I'm coming from a Mountune though, so mine, you know, doesn't flex as much as the stock motor mount would or whatever, but this feels noticeably different than even the Mountune. A lot more direct feel to it, which is a good thing. It's wonderful. So far, no air conditioning on. It's fine. I'm about to turn the air conditioning on now that the car is fully warmed up. I've already done this, I just want to point out, and it is pretty noticeable. But here we go. I don't know if you can hear that, but I'm getting a high quality massage in my, I'm sure you can probably hear that child seat rattling. Not sure if it's picking it up, but it is pretty noticeable right now. But overall, I mean, you know, it's not bad for even how it is. So just have to see when it breaks in. So I'm gonna hold off on, you know, I'm not gonna go ahead and make this video or whatever. I'm gonna drive the car this week to get more seat time in it, because I've really only driven the car for 10 minutes. So I don't want to tell you, you know, an end all be all review just based on that. But just give me just a little bit and I'll update the rest of this video. All right, we're back again. So this is my update. I've gone 1,468 miles this go around. So I'll get some follow-up things here in just a second, but let me just show you, and maybe this can compare to some of the earlier tests. But right now the car is idling, and I mean, it's not bad. It's not shaking keys. The child seat in the back's not shaking. All is well. So let's do the air conditioning test. All right, when it kicked in, I mean, there was some decent vibration, but Let's see what we got. I don't know if you can hear my seat. My seat is vibrating. Keys are really not doing much of anything. Not sure if you can hear that. There's a little bit of vibration, but I got to be 100% honest. You know, a lot of people were saying that you know, give it 1,000 miles to break in. To me, I mean, you know, I don't know. It just seems like it's been about the same the whole time, but overall, it's not bad. All right, so on to my thoughts on the CPE Stage 2 rear motor mount. Like I've already said before in the previous little clip, I put about 1,400 and some odd miles on the rear motor mount. So it does have a little bit more vibrations than the Mountune, and significantly more than if you have just a stock motor mount. But the benefits do outweigh those vibrations. Like I had mentioned, you know, if in the other clips, I mean, when you're driving around with no air conditioning on, I mean, it's not noticeable. I mean, it's amazing. When you turn the air conditioning on, there's some vibrations, but I mean, I'm probably the pickiest person that you've ever met when it comes to things like this. Like, I want my car to be as close to factory driving, but then have the performance aspect. So I'm your pickiest person, which is why I've mentioned in the past that I was scared to do this mod, because I don't want those vibrations. But you know, it's really not that bad. So for me, I'm fine with it. I'm actually glad I made the switch. The things that I did notice is I swear the car is easier to drive, if that can make any sense. And the only way that I see that is the power is far more direct than the other motor mounts. It's just in the design, and I know I'd mentioned before, you can see how much the motor moves back if you go to CPE's YouTube page and watch their video. They take a measuring tape out and they show you kind of what it does, but that makes a huge difference in the driving dynamics of it. When you give it gas, it goes. There is no delay, there's no lag. Like, you know, you really notice it if you go like up a hill or incline. I have seen with my Mountune that sometimes going up a hill, it lugs the motor so bad that I was getting a little bit of chatter from the downpipe bracket area. And because of that, I ended up sawing off some of the little nubs to give extra clearance. When you go uphill with the CPE Stage 2, I mean, it just goes. There is no lugging or anything like that. I thought it was interesting because last weekend I let Kyle drive my car. He's got the white Focus ST. His car is basically the same thing as mine. I just wanted him to compare. We've got roughly the same modifications. He's got a different intercooler than I have, with a different downpipe, but it's still basically about the same thing. And we have the same tuner. So he's in the tuning process on his, and I think he's getting finished up now. So I just wanted him to compare his car versus mine. And the one thing that he said is the same thing. He felt that my car was more direct. We kind of talked about it or whatever, and you know, my car's got a aftermarket rear sway bar. I thought maybe that's what he was talking about. Maybe he said my car was a lot tighter than his. We both are on lowering springs, things like that. Both have similar miles on our cars. So the more I got to thinking about it, I said, well, I know what you're talking about. It's the motor mount. He's got the Cobb rear motor mount. Which that's a whole different story. Maybe we'll get him to do a video on that, because you see a lot of hate on that motor mount online, but the little bit I've been in his car, I mean, I really don't see too big a deal with it. But that's the biggest thing. I mean, my car is more direct. Like I said, it's easier to drive. I mean, you just when you give it some throttle, it goes. There is no lag or delay or lugging or anything like that. So I can definitely recommend this to everybody. It is a little bit more expensive than your standard motor mounts that are, I don't know, in that $150, $180 range, where this one I want to say is like maybe $220 something. So I was originally told to get this motor mount out the gate. I don't, you know, I wouldn't change anything, because like I've said before in some of the other videos, how do I know if something's good if I haven't tried other things? So I love the Mountune, definitely recommend it if you want as minimal vibrations as possible, but I do want to let you know that it does still vibrate when you put the air conditioning on. It is noticeable. So it's not like it's going to be like having a factory replacement or whatever. There are vibrations with that. So if you're going to get some vibrations anyway, I do recommend this product. All right, guys. See you.
If we are one grain of sand in the middle of the ocean, can you try to understand how a touch can cause explosions? Rise up, I'm too great to be landed. Rise up, we're too great to be standing.
They ain't never gonna stop us, fly man, I'm like choppers, better cook those risks, cold blood in my fists, we fire starters, one out of a million will reach those heights, always had a feeling that I won't deny, not work, never could toss, look in my eyes, I'm on the rocks.